Welcome back to our second hour here on World Crisis Radio. Follow everything that you hear here on Tarpley.net. If you want to hear more commentary about the Libyan events, again, there's a wealth of material from my media interviews and other things that I've done. Take a look also at the Twitter feed, Webster G. Tarpley. That's if you want to follow it hour by hour. That was a lot of action on that Twitter account on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, when this new phase was opening up. Al Jazeera attempts to treat the war as what it was, a war in which Gaddafi had to defend fixed positions. It is not that anymore. It's not a matter of fixed positions for Gaddafi. It is for the rebels. The war is now a war of movement. And the goal of the Gaddafi forces, quite simply, is to kill as many of the rebels as they can. And I think this is the untold story. How many rebels have been killed? In the past couple of weeks, we began to get reports of very heavy casualties among the rebels. They would take a city, but they would pay 100 or 150 dead in the process. How many rebels were killed now in the destabilization of Tripoli, such as it has been? What is the morale now of the rebels? Think about the last scenes of the old Lawrence of Arabia movie, right? After they take Damascus with the help of the British Army, a little bit before the British Army, and they have this council, and basically after a while, everybody goes home, right? Anthony Quinn is looking for loot, and once he gets loot, he goes home. Well, these rebels have now looted Tripoli to a large degree. They've looted all the hotels. They've got a whole bunch of computers and Gaddafi memorabilia and so forth. Will they go home? Have they had enough? They're going to say now their chances, if they're supposed to be standing in Tripoli overnight at a checkpoint, maybe that's a little bit too dangerous for some of them. The idea, they've been the blitzkrieg so far. They've been the invading hordes. Now they're going to have to do garrison duty and stand there and do guard duty and get pot shots taken at them. Maybe that's not too attractive. The other thing, of course, is that the factions that are clear in this congeries there in Benghazi, these will explode. They'll start killing each other. They already have. Hifter masterminded the plot to kill Yunus with the help of Jalil, with the help of some others. Tarhouni was probably involved in that too, the defense minister, and so forth. Won't this dissolve into complete chaos? If you do bring in United Arab Emirates troops, those are foreign monarchist troops. They will not be welcome. And if the French insist, if Sarkozy really goes for a flight forward and brings in the French Foreign Legion openly with amphibious landings, then that will be the signal for a lot of Kalashnikov action. So it's better not to go down this road. This is folly. Didn't we learn anything in Vietnam, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in so many other places? It's time for a ceasefire, what Musa Ibrahim called for, and some kind of negotiation. And again, if the NATO forces pull out, the rebellion collapses, even at this point, and more than ever perhaps at this point. NATO has a reconsideration meeting coming up. What are the Dutch going to do? The Canadians, the Italians, will they drop out? Now, the Italians. Jibril was in Italy this week. You're going to now see a big anti-Italian campaign because there's going to be a big rivalry between France and Italy to see who gets the loot, or in other words, whether Eni, the Italian oil company, will be able to keep its presence in Libya or whether they will be kicked out and supplanted by the French. The Chinese have already been ousted. The Russians have already been ousted. Will Italy also be ousted? So the Italians are now paying tribute to the new Vandal kingdom. In Rome and in Milan, Jibril received assurances that he would get money from the Italian government and that he would get free gasoline for the entire foreseeable future from Eni as a token of Italian friendship. So let's see what happens. Notice also that the Washington Post and others are now, suddenly there's new interest in the anti-Berlusconi scandals, right? We've now got the story of Nicole Minetti being described here in the Washington Post. I won't go into this in detail. This is the same stuff with, remember the one with the wait for me in Putin's bed, and then the Ruby Rubacuori. Why these scandals against Berlusconi? Is it a little bit like Lewinsky? Is it an intelligence operation designed to entrap him and weaken him? I think so. And WikiLeaks, of course, getting into the action. Remember, compared to Sarkozy, Berlusconi is a choir boy. He's an innocent babe. The Chronicles, and I'm working on trying to get these ready for distribution. The Chronicles of Sarkozy's corruption, the Babylon, and this monstrous cesspool of corruption in the Élysée Palace, and before that in Neuilly-sur-Seine. The corruption of Sarkozy is legendary. They say Berlusconi frequented prostitutes. Well, that's one thing, but to marry one and make her first lady of France, this is another story. So this entire complex, I think, deserves also some very, very skeptical attention. Get ready for a big campaign attacking Berlusconi, and the idea is they're not going to tell you that this is designed to help Sarkozy's grab. Sarkozy's approval ratings extremely low. DSK, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, now released, and of course it proves that this entire thing was an intelligence operation by the CIA run through the New York City Police Department. Remember that Strauss-Kahn was on his way to Berlin to meet with Merkel, and an envoy was ready to go to meet Gaddafi to set up some kind of pilot project for an alternative reserve currency system, and for that they needed the Libyan oil. This played a very important role in what has happened. Now, just one or two other notes on the Libyan situation. I expect this to become a kind of urban guerrilla warfare, a kind of perhaps a new kind, something that we haven't seen yet. So we have to look at this very, very carefully. The entire province of Fezzan. You'll notice that even the Al Jazeera films show that there's a special rage by these racist al-Qaeda rebels from Benghazi against black Libyans. There's an entire province of Fezzan. Those people are Libyans, they're Arabs, and they're black. Will they accept the yoke of these terrorists from Benghazi? I really doubt it. And that's a lot of southern Libya, and it shades over into nearby countries. We've also got the first reports of massive atrocities by the rebels. 30 Libyan army soldiers massacred by the rebels. How about that massacre? Is there any responsibility to protect them? These are the people this is the kind of murder and mayhem that NATO now relies on. It's their stock in trade to impose this bankrupt imperial system on independent states and to attack them. There's also going to be, of course, the UN General Assembly next month, and there may be moves on the part of various African states to condemn, at least at the level of the General Assembly, the kind of thing that NATO has been doing, obviously abusing the UN mandate. So there's much more to say about this. Maybe just one other thing: the comparison from the U.S. Civil War. You look at the Battle of Shiloh in 1862. Look at the Battle of Cedar Creek out here in the Shenandoah Valley in 1864. In the case of Shiloh, it's the Confederates under Johnston who managed to surprise the Union forces of Grant and Sherman and drive the Union from the field. They're routed, but they are then rallied by these commanders, Grant and Sherman, with the help of some others, Lew Wallace and a few others. They then return to the battlefield and defeat the rebels. Another very dramatic example in the case of Cedar Creek. Jubal Early and his Confederates do a surprise attack on the Union camp of General Phil Sheridan in the Shenandoah Valley, October 1864. They achieve complete surprise. They drive the Union forces from the field en route, but then they stop to loot. They're so hungry that they stop to loot the Union camp. This allows Sherman to get on his big black horse Rienzi, ride down the road, rally the forces, counterattack, and drive the Confederates from the field. So all you need is a defiant rallying figure, and I see several. I see Gaddafi, I see Saif, I see Musa Ibrahim. So these examples might put it all in perspective. Back in a minute.